All right, let's see how much we can get away with today. Welcome back to the ZT Audio channel. Again, today looking at the Fantom. We're going to go into some things that came out in version 1.5 of the OS that I think are kind of interesting and haven't really been demonstrated as much as they could be. Now, we've had for quite some time already the ability to go into pattern mode and create songs and launch patterns by hitting the touch screen very easily, or to even do what I just did there, which is launch a whole lane or a whole variation of patterns, which means I can have a different variation of my drums on track 10 here. I can have different variations of these instruments here, and I can launch them a lane or a variation at a time. Okay? And I can also just click things on the screen. That's been pretty handy, but the screen is a little unwieldy and the icons are a little too small to really use that effectively in live performance, in my opinion. So Roland's given us some other variations that we can work with, or some other ideas that we can work with. One of them is, right off the bat, if we look to our pad mode now, we'll see that in addition to everything that we've had up to this point in time, we also have a pattern play mode. And if I hit pad mode again, we have a variation play mode. And we'll kind of take these in reverse order. I've got, if I come out here, you'll see, and I'll zoom in here, I've got a thing called coming around here. That's my scene. And so what I'm doing is just a really rough skeleton shell arrangement of sort of the sections of this old Carly Simon song. And so I can approach this song in a number of different ways. One of them is if I'm playing live and I don't necessarily know how many times we're going to do the verse and how many times we're going to do the chorus, I can go into pad mode, use variation play, and now you'll notice that I've got 4 light blue keys here. I hope this comes up on camera very well. And I've got some slightly different colored, either teal or darker blue or something keys on the right side here. Left is this, right is that. And this is A through D, if I hit that. These are E through H, if I hit those. So now I can control the playing of those variations by hitting the pads like that. So if we want to just start out doing that song, we can just start. And I'll turn the volume down there a little bit just so that you can hear that this is a 4-bar section that I'm just going to let repeat twice. And when it gets to the end of the beginning of the 4th bar, the second time around, I'm going to go ahead and hit the next variation because it starts on the bar division. And then I'll go to the little bridge section here. And so you can see how I don't have to have a recorded song, a recorded sequence that I've got to go through and do live every single time. I could, by using these features together, I could go to pad mode, say I'm going to go to pattern play, and I can start this song by just starting the drums. And then I can come on over here and I could start the bass part. And maybe this is a section where the band leader or the singer or whatever is encouraging people to get out on the floor. If this was a worship song, this would be this part of the song before we're starting to sing the song all together, where you encourage everybody to get into a prayerful mood or whatever. And then when I want to, I can go right over here to pad mode, hit variation play, and now I'll launch the whole verse together. Again, the way this song goes, there's a second 4-bar section here. We're into the B section now. then there's this little section that comes up here that's kind of a bridge or whatever. And into the second verse. And again, we can take things in and out on the screen right here if we want to. If we wanted to have a little better view and not have to be so fiddly with our fingers on the screen, we can switch these modes in the middle. I can say pad mode, go to pattern play, and now what I could do is I could say, well, let's take out everything but the bass and the drums. Well, I took out the bass too. So let's put the bass back in and leave the drums in and take out that little plucky part. And here again, this could be a part maybe in the middle of the song where he's going to announce so-and-so, they've been married 400 years, let's all give them a hand. You know, this, that, the other thing. And then we go back over to our pad mode, hit variation break, and we're going to go right into the chorus part of the song following the guy doing his little announcements. All right, so you get the idea. You've also got the facility to not, sorry, bumped the camera there. You've also got the facility to use these modes together in another way, in a third way, and this is the one that I think people miss. If I start this song in, what am I in? I'm in variation play mode. I showed you how I can go over to pattern play mode, right? Boom. Now I'm in pattern play. But how do I get around to these different sections? You can see that I've got this part highlighted here, but there's no way for me to really move those around. So what I do is I hit Shift Pad Mode, and now I can choose whichever one of these sections of the grid that I want to zero in on. So if I want to take the drums out all by itself, I can either do it on the screen here, or on the pads. So I can bring that back in on the screen. And I guess it doesn't work that way when you're in this mode, but here we go. Go over here. And so using this, I've got a very flexible way using these features together. Pad mode, variation, the pattern play mode, the variation play mode, and hitting Shift Pad mode when I'm in pattern will let me move around in this 8x16 grid that I've got going on. Now, maybe that's not your style of music, okay? And it's, again, this is not supposed to be stuff that, like, this is the greatest music ever made or whatever. I'm going to switch genres here a little bit because I want to show you an application of using this that might be interesting to you guys who do sort of like controllerism or drum machine stuff and, you know, techno jams and stuff like that. So I've got a little piece called T-Jam here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into pad mode, pattern play. Okay, call up the pattern, pad mode, pattern play. And I'm going to hit that Shift Pad mode. So now I could have a 16 by 16, a 8 by 16 grid of stuff that I want to have in there. And it doesn't have to all be the way that it's laid out normally. And you'll see here, for instance, that I've got, if I start this particular pattern here by hitting this, I'll start a pretty typical techno 4 on the floor drum beat thing here. But I've also got the claps over here on this button. And I can start doing variations on that now, bring in a different section. And you'll note that since I've got those claps on a different track, I can do all that stuff where I'm now making them louder or I'm bringing them down softer. And it just so happens that on that clap section, if I've got it selected, I can use the filter. again, you know, guys, I apologize. I'm not a techno artist. I'm not trying to do the greatest techno set here in the middle on the fly. I'm just kind of demonstrating what you can do. So if we start that up again here, you know, maybe I put the claps back in. And I've got another little section over here on this pattern. I'll fade it up. And I can also do things where I had stuff where I'm playing live on the keyboard or on the pads or whatever. So this should give you some idea how you can use these new pad modes in very flexible ways with the Fantom to do various different kinds of music and to do it in other ways than just simply doing that straightforward, linear, it plays through exactly the same thing every time kind of thing, which is a little bit boring. So just some ideas for you, some stuff that's really flexible on the Fantom. Thanks again for watching today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.